In this video, we're going to talk about actual work being done when it comes to single code base. So we're going to take the TikTok app as an example and try to figure out the basic UI layer of different platforms, including mobile, desktop, and web view. By the time this video is live, the written article will be published as well, which you can go through. I'll put the link in the description. Hello जी, welcome back. So this is going to be the second part in which we're going to do the actual work done. साल के बाद में हम वाकई कुछ उखाड़ने की कोशिश करेंगे. So I have already placed the UI example which we talked about in the first part. It's the TikTok app, and this is the desktop view that you're seeing on the screen. This is the tablet view, and then on the last, this is the mobile app. I have taken these screenshots from the actual mobile app because there was a bit of different components that were only placed in the mobile app. For example, the bottom bar, the drawer, then opening of the task like this. In desktop and tablet, the major difference is basically if you click on one task, it opens up on the right side this pane. Tablet, if you click on a task, it opens up from the right drawer. So even if I try to show you, this is how the functionality works. This is the desktop view. If I click on tablet view, this is if I click on it, this is how it works. And if I expand it to a bit larger, then this is how it works. You can see it on the right side. And if you like switch it to the mobile app, which is a bit different from this mobile view of this responsiveness UI, then it's going to have a bottom bar that handles the different tabs and different screens, a drawer that holds all the categories of the tasks, and if you click on one task, it opens up in a modal view like this. And as always, for this part, we do have the checklist. So first thing we're going to do is go through the outline and develop major widgets. For example, on the desktop, there are a couple of sections that we need to work on. Then platform-specific widget, for example, there are some components, some UIs, some experiences that are specific for the mobile and for the desktop and for the tablet. Lastly, we're going to handle a dynamic state. Clicking on task should open the drawer or it should open the mobile view with that specific task as well. Of course, we're not going to work on an actual to-do list app with database and stuff. So we're going to work out with a mock data. So let's quickly go through the outline structure. So if you go through this, that this is going to be the first part or maybe the first section that we have. Then we have a middle section, which is this one. And then we have lastly the right pane in which the actual tasks basically opens up, right? So we can say this is one, this is two, and we're going to have a third section, which is three, right? So this is the major difference, or you can say the major widgets or components on the desktop. Moving on to the tablet, we're going to have one component that is similarly or common to the one in the desktop view. Second is also common to the desktop, which is the middle one, and we do not have the third one. Third is rather hidden inside the right drawer, you can say. Or if we talk about Flutter, it's going to be an end drawer class. If we move towards the mobile view of this application, we have pretty different stuff. So for example, the first thing is we have this button bar, then we have this floating action button to add the tasks, then we have the whole left pane on desktop and the web that is converted into a drawer, and then we have this little modal bottom sheet that basically opens up a tasks in a bottom bar sheet format. So these are the differences, major differences across all the user experiences of this application. We're going to tackle the sections only in this part, and we'll try to make the state dynamic. And in the next part, we're going to talk about the whole app being rendered on Android and iOS. We'll see the nitty-gritties. So when it comes to our project structure, I have made a few changes. First thing and the last thing I did was I grabbed the bootstrap breakpoints from the website actually and made those little changes in here. Then I added a few data modules, category and task. So each category is going to have a list of tasks. Then in static, I have prepared mock data using GPT that is going to help us populating our UI for better user experience while we develop this whole application. When it comes to screens, I have already added a task screen that is going to be this one that contains everything from categories to the list view of all the tasks to the task details. I've already set up the desktop, mobile, and tablet state of this one, like login that we talked about in our previous part. So we're going to develop the UI or the major component that we have just highlighted. Let's get started with the first one. I'm just going to keep all the related widgets inside the tasks architecture works. I keep the related widgets near to the screens that is only using it. So first thing is going to be the categories list. Second thing would be tasks details, because this is going to be where the task is shown in form of a list, in form of the title and the detail of the tasks. So we're going to keep it that way. And then we're going to have is basically task list that is going to be displayed inside or between the whole section, it's pretty similar in desktop, in tablet, and in mobile. It's all similar. So we can use the same component across the board. And since we're keeping all the widgets and all the files close to our main screen, so I'm just going to make it part of the tasks. With that being done, we can simply create a stateless widget for now, just to ensure that everything is in place. So that is it. We have our main sections or main component in our widget. Now it's time to render them in a desktop view. So if we go through our diagram or the thing that we have outlined, we're going to target desktop first, then tablet, and then mobile. In actual web development, it's mobile first approach is always recommended, but since we're going to work on Android and iOS in the end, so that's why I'm going to put mobile for the last part to work on. In desktop, we can see that we have the list categories on the left side, then we have all the task lists in between and the task detail on the end. So if we move towards our desktop, we can simply say going to be a row with an expanded widget that's going to have categories list, then tasks lists, and then in the last we're going to have task details. The only thing is, since the middle one is a big taking bit more space, we're just going to give it flex 2 for now. Now let me just render all the UI just to save some time. So in categories list, I'll just create a UI something like this. I'll keep it simple so that to not over complex it. Then in random list, when you click on one, it's going to show you the random list on the second. This is what we're going to do together so that you are going to understand how the shared state is going to work. And same goes for the last part. When you click on one task, it's going to be add up into the last pane and that you can edit it later on. With this current UI implementation, this is how our screen looks like. The next thing is that we need to select one category. It's going to render all the tasks inside that category here. For selecting it, we are going to use a shared state concept because we want to make sure that this functionality works on web, mobile, and tablet simultaneously. So in state, I'm just going to take a category variable and I'm going to have a set category. It should be nullable because if you don't want to keep the center item selected, you can just click on it. It's going to remove the category if it's same. So for that, we can simply put a logic that if something like this. Now the next part is we need to add this functionality here. So I have my own service locator function that I shared in the first video. If you're not interested in using it, you can simply access the provider directly from the provider method, which is like this. I'm just going to stick with my way of doing it. On tap, all we need to do is just pass the selected category function and the specific category. Next thing we need to do is we need to ensure that the selected UI just takes place. So the tile color would be updated if the current category is selected. I'm just going to make it a little bit darker just to see if it's working or not. Right, so the clicking functionality works. We need to utilize this category and show the remaining tasks in between the section. That part is in the task list. We're going to use the same strategy here. We're going to access our category, our task from the category like this. We're just simply using column for now. And when it comes to the final touching and finishing, we're going to handle it whether we need to convert it in a list format or not if the responsiveness is already working. I'm simply going to use the autocomplete here just to see if this thing works pretty fine. Just going to add a little bit of padding, and if we click on the tasks, this is how they're going to show up. Now let me just quickly update the UI a little bit with the checkboxes and things so that we can have a better UI to work with. So up till here, this is how the UI looks like. So we are almost there with the actual functionality being done. We have the categories on the left. We have a text field that can add different tasks on submission. You can of course have your mechanism of adding the task inside the list, but this is just for the sake of shared state being used. The next part is when you click on one of these tasks or basically the list to do tasks, they are going to end up on this right pane. Again, we're going to use the shared state for this. So above this, everything is related to the categories. This is related to the task being added. And below this, we're going to have something like this. And the task details, task list, this is what we're going to do. So on tapping of a task, it's going to set the current task inside it. In the task details, we're going to do the same mechanism that we did for the categories list. We fetched one category, we picked it up, we rendered all the tasks. We're going to have the current task. If the task is not yet selected, we are going to return a size box. Otherwise, we're going to have the tasks in a detailed format. For that, we're going to simply form something like that. So now if we click on one category and we click on one task, we just need to format the date time in a little neat way, and we just need to give a bit of a padding so that it looks nice. So the functionality is done. The next part is that we need to ensure that these title and the description are basically editable. So this should be editable. This should be editable as well. I just added a new task and we should be able to add its description. We can take the date somewhere else or maybe a little bit above so that we can have that experience as well.
One eternity later.
So I just completed that experience. Now you can have all the tasks in a way that you can edit them here and they're going to be updated here. You can change the description here as well. And when you can come back, the description stays updated. You can mark the tasks as done or you can mark them undone just for the sake of better experience. Up next is basically to have the tablet experience with the same UI. The only difference will be the tasks should not open on the right way and instead they're going to open as an end drawer. So in tablet, we're going to do the same thing that we did in desktop. I'm just going to copy the code for the tablet view. The only thing is that we don't need the task. I'll just keep it right here instead. So now if you have all the tasks, you can open it and as you start scrolling, so as soon as you reach the tablet view, it goes away. So in tablet, we're going to have, if this is clicked, we're going to open a drawer from the end and then we're going to populate it inside there. We're again going to use the state this time. The only difference is we need to do it for the tablet view. So in tablet, we're going to have an end drawer. I'm just going to keep it drawer for now. Up next is we need to check if this UI looks nice or not. And second thing is that we need to open the task in a drawer. The only on tap will not work as of now. In tablet, we just need to put one check that if current task is null, we just do not enter anything. The rest is going to be the detailed forms and we're going to pass in the current tasks. With that being in place, this is how the experience is looking like. So when you click on any task, it opens up the drawer from the right side, and of course, it's still editable. So if you just edit it, go back, do something, edit it here, go back, and you can open any other one right there. Now moving to the mobile view, the important thing on mobile would be the mobile view, not the mobile app view. It's going to be that the left categories just goes away and they are turned into a separate drawer on the end. So if we move towards the desktop, we can just copy it, paste it for the mobile, and we don't need anything like this. And since it's going to be the only list, we can literally have it in a scaffold like this. So now if you go back, for example, if I select this one just for the sake of surety, this is how it's going to look like. Now we need a drawer that can open up from the left that can let us select the category. And if we click on one of these, it should let us open the drawer to edit it as well in mobile view. And in Android or basically the mobile app itself, we need to ensure that this opens up in form of modal that we just talked about in our initial steps. So let's proceed with a drawer that basically holds the category list. Now, as per the experience, we need to have at least one category selected. What I'm going to do is to update this category to be nullable. From more categories, I'm going to set this as a first category. And we can remove this logic from here as well. And of course, we're going to remove all the rest of the logic that says that this cannot be or can be null. So now every time we open our UI, it's going to have some category selected always. And if you click on desktop, it's going to act like this. If you click on tablet, it's going to act like this. The remaining part is basically we need a drawer button here on mobile view and we need to click on it to open it up in a modal bottom sheet. So in title tasks list, we need to have a check that will add a check of responsiveness if mobile, and we're going to add an icon button that's going to open up the drawer for us like this. If we test it out, then it opens up our category. I can select the second one. I can close the drawer. Everything will be updated. I can click the health and fitness. Everything will be updated. The important part here could be that in category select, we can update this one to an expression and put the check that if it's a mobile view, if it's a mobile view, we will be able to exit the drawer as well upon selection. I think I made a typo. It should just close drawer, not close end drawer. So now if we select, everything will work perfectly fine. With that being said, you can see that all the code is shared across desktop, tablet, and mobile view. We are just maintaining the UI. The logic stays common for all of them. So for example, if you click health and fitness, this category will be selected throughout the view, no matter you are on web or desktop or tablet. Similarly, if you open a task in here and no matter what, if your view changes and you comes back, it will stay selected. So this is how you can build up an experience with Flutter across cross-platform. So in the next part, what we're going to do is we're going to actually run our app on an Android or iOS simulator, and we're going to set up the bottom drawer, and we're going to check the all UI works pretty fine in terms of spaces, safe areas, and everything. So see you in the next one.